You're welcome to another episode of the Business Class, and I'm your host, Dami Olarewaju. I hope you have been kicking ass in your business. I hope you have been making that money, right? And I hope you have been implementing some of the things that we've been teaching you on this platform. And that's why for some of you that you're the newbie, you're the new kid on the block, right? I want you to subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn notification on, and also follow us across our social media platform. Guys, don't mind my voice. I've been under the weather lately, right? But you're going to manage it. So at the last episode, we spoke about the first principle of building an hypergrowth business, which is about discovering and niching down to a particular industry. And we spoke about 21 differentiator. You need to go and check that video, right? It's going to blow your mind.
The Business Class.
So today I want to talk about another very important construct in the whole concept of building hypergrowth business, which is talking about lead generation. As you know that I'm very particular about lead generation. I'm a fanatic when it comes to lead generation. In fact, I call myself the king of lead gen, right? You know, I'm free to, right? So we want to talk about generating lead. For you to have hypergrowth, you must have a system or a systematic way of generating lead in a predictable way in your business. Now, I'm going to tell you about how this works, right? At the first stage of your business, one of the things that you can leverage on will be referrals. You know, you talk to friend and family, business associate, former employee, former colleagues on trying to get you somebody you can talk to about your new product, your new service, and all of that. And that works actually till it dries up. Referral really typically cannot sustain a business, right? You know what I mean? You've spoken to somebody that spoke to somebody until there's nobody to speak to. So what do you do in that instance? Now you move to the next phase called inbound marketing, where you throw out different content out there in the hope that people will come to you. You know, you throw out the blog, like you throw out the videos like I'm doing, you throw out blog posts, social media posts, you're talking about your field, your industry, you are educating your clients, your customers, and you're telling them about what you do, about how you can add value by not actually selling to them directly, right? But you know the bad thing about this, or the downside to inbound, it actually takes time also to get your return on investment on inbound marketing. For you to even see some visible form of ROI from that, you might have spent close to 2 years of investment, right? And that can be crazy for a startup or even a growing concern because you have bills to pay, right? So it's not the preferred way of running an hypergrowth business. Remember, hypergrowth business is a business growing at the rate of 100% year on year by my own definition. Actually, by others' definition, if it's growing around 40% per annum, it's still an hypergrowth business. But because my standard is high, right? And as an agency, our standard is very high. That's why we choose 100% year on year growth. For you to do that, you have to bring in this third element I want to talk about, which is outbound. You actually have to do inbound. Remember, I do not suggest, I'm not saying that you should not ask for referral. I'm not saying that you should only focus on outbound. You should also do the inbound because it's good for brand building. It's good for visibility, top of mind awareness, thought leadership, and be the subject matter expert in your industry. However, for you to achieve this kind of hypergrowth, right, you need to take on the third element. That's outbound, which is reaching out to your customer, to your prospect, and I'm not talking about the old school way that is being done, right? I'm talking about the new school method of outbound marketing. In the old school era, you're talking about cold calling, not researching on prospects, spray and pray method, where you just take your phone, your email, and blast, and praying and hoping that somebody respond. No, there's a strategic way that outbound marketing is done now, right? The first thing you need to do in that element is for you to actually build a list. And that entails for you to understand what industry is your client playing, your prospect. That's what we call firmography, their size, their geography, their services, and also, most importantly in this regard, you need to know their pain point relative to the service you're trying to offer them, right? You need to know the exact pain point because there are so many triggers, right? But you need to drill down to exactly know their pain point. You need to know where you can actually add the most value, when it comes to the service that you want to provide. So you also need to drill down to know who are the key decision maker. Typically, who are the key decision maker in that ideal customer prospect. So for example, if you're dealing with a company in automobile and you want to sell maybe HR service, you need to know exactly who typically takes the decision. Of course, you need to know the influencers. You also need to know the users. So the key decision maker, the influencers, and the users. These are very important when you are trying to, determine your ideal customer profile. You also need to know their average revenue so that you can be able to know. Then in terms of revenue, you also need to know the average amount that is spent, their budgets regarding that service that you're trying to offer them. So after doing that, setting up your ideal customer profile, the next thing you need to go into is what we call list building. Now, this is the most important part of outbound marketing, where you get a database of your prospects. This is a game of number. So you need to get, maybe there are 5,000 people playing in that industry. You really want to get the whole 5K database if you can. Then you now begin to drill down based on your ideal customer profile. By the time you stamp it on the database, you can extract those people that you want to reach out to. But that's the start of the game, right? Because you now need to drill down per company to know exactly those guys we spoke about, the key influencers now. You now need to know them by name. You need to know them by name. You need to know what are their interests. You need to know how to reach out to them. And there are several tools and methods to this, which is beyond the scope of this video. But if you need help regarding that, you can talk to us at our agency, Emeraldis Digital, where we can help you with all of this. Creating the ideal customer profile, the scientific way of list building, getting the exact people that you need to talk to. We can actually go as far as getting you the client, getting you to the front of the people that you need to talk to. So going back to what we're discussing, so you need to get that list. And the next thing you begin to do now is to begin to research. One of the things you want to do in your research is what we call finding out the triggers. So you want to check, probably the company just, expanded, Now you have to drill down now to each of the prospects, right? You have to do this in a very customized form. Because when it comes to sending out the information you want to send to them, you have to personalize the information. You can't just send cold emails, cold calls out without knowing how to exactly reach out to the prospect and what will actually make them, literally turn their head or pause whatever they are doing to listen to you, right? So imagine the old school dating game. You want to say something that will actually trigger the interest of the other person, right? It's the same thing. And now you have to find out their interest. So you need to get what their pain points are. And these are some of the triggers. Maybe they've just gone through merger and acquisition or expansion or in any form, right? You also want to check events happening in the industry. You also want to check if there are policy changes that would necessitate probably the use of your product. So some of those things are triggers that you look out for, right? You move on to the next phase, which is now the outreach. Make sure that your research is as detailed as possible and you need to document that. You will need to keep all the details at the lead research phase of this whole concept because you will need the outcome of those research to actually use in your scripting to actually use in your cold calling, but I would prefer to say calling, right? In emailing and some form of outreach that you will do to the prospects, right? But before we jump into email and all of that, you need to map out what we call your sales sequence or your outreach sequence. These are some of the tools that I use in reaching out. We talk about the old school calling, mobile phone calling. You have emailing, you have in-mailing, or what we call social selling, when you're using LinkedIn to sell. There's the text, there's the SMS, right? But out of it, what we really focus on will be in-mailing, and there are tools for all of these things. Phone call, sending emails, personalized email, remember. So now you need to form your sales sequence with that. What's the first thing that you're going to do? Are you going to call first or email first, then call? Then you can have something like email, call. Then you email, you call. You must also know in your outreach sequence how many touch points you want to have with the prospect. At the end of the day, there's no exact science to this. This is dependent on your industry, your field, and your prospects, right? So you want to know that, right? And eventually, ultimately, what you want to do is to make sure that you book an appointment or book a demo, or book a meeting with the prospect. So you want to make sure that your scripting is on point. You want to make sure that your email, your phone call is on point, And once you do that, you will be able to actually get to meet these guys. So, and you must have, is the game of the numbers, right? It's been said that for you to actually get a meeting with like 10 people, you might have to reach out to 100 people, right? But it's better than you just waiting on people to call you. So this is one of the most effective ways of booking the meeting and getting to the front of the prospect. Now, when you get to the front of the prospect, you now have the opportunity to actually talk about your product or your service. And this is how to achieve hypergrowth. It's about filling up your pipeline, right? And like we said, referral is not enough to fill up your pipeline. Inbound marketing is not enough because it takes time, right? You need to imbibe the concept of outbound marketing. So guys, you can go all around and research around that. But there are several articles on our website on how you can go about this whole concept of lead generation, particularly running outbound marketing. And like I said, if you would like us to do this for you, maybe for time, helping you to set up all of this system, you can reach out to us at Emeraldis Digital. We're ready to actually help you sort all of these things out. I hope you've been able to learn one or two things about how to build hypergrowth businesses by filling up your pipeline, through all this lead generation method. We spoke about referral, which is not enough, but it's very important. We spoke about inbound marketing, which is a very critical part of lead generation, but it takes time to build. But it's essential because you need it for top of mind awareness, you need it for branding. But we also spoke about the king of it all, which is outbound, which is not waiting, which is reaching out to your prospect and the method of going around it. But guys, before you go, if you have not subscribed, please try and subscribe to our YouTube channel, right? And turn notification on so that you can get notified when we drop our content. I would also like you to go to our website to check out our blog post. There are several quality articles that we have there regarding this concept of lead generation, building up a growth business, and loads of content are on the website. But most importantly, guys, also, when you go to the website, try and pre-register for our upcoming webinar. You don't want to miss it. There are loads of stuff that I'll be sharing with you regarding building hypergrowth business. So guys, go there now and pre-register, right? And I hope to catch you on the next episode of the business class. I'm going to be talking about another critical component of building hypergrowth business. You really don't want to miss this. You don't want to.